With a single word, Rome seemed to cut off any possibility of dialogue. Excommunicated. 6 bishops of the Society of St. Pius the Kin received the most severe penalty envisaged by the Church. But what if I told you that right now, that excommunication might not be in effect, and that it's not just any blog that says so, but the law of the Church itself? It's not how you've been told. By the end of this video, you'll understand why, on paper, the game is far from over, and why canonists are divided on this very point. Let's start with the facts. On July 2nd, the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith issued a decree excommunicating the 6 bishops of the Society for having received and conferred episcopal consecration without the Pope's mandate. Headlines around the world said the same thing. Out of the Church, period. The matter seemed closed, just as it was in 1988 with Lefebvre. And the audience recorded the message, "The Society is excommunicated. Its bishops are out. End of story." Or so it seemed. But let's read the text, because on July 11th, something happened that few major media outlets truly explain. The Society has filed a formal appeal against that decree, not a verbal protest, a precise legal act provided for by the Code of Canon Law, Canons 1734, etc. This is how it works. Anyone who believes they have been harmed by a decree has 10 days to request, in writing, that the issuing authority withdraw or correct it. This is the mandatory first step before filing an actual appeal. The fraternity did so within the deadline, 9 days after the decree was issued, and the authority now has 30 days to respond. But the point that changes everything is another, Canon 1353. And here, you must read with the utmost attention. That canon states that an appeal against a sentence or decree that imposes or declares a penalty has suspensive effect. Simply put, while the appeal is pending, the execution of the penalty is suspended. This is why the Society claims that with the appeal, the implementation of the July 2nd decree is suspended. Suspended, mind you, not annulled, but frozen until a decision is reached. If this reading is correct, then at this time, those 6 bishops, on paper, are not suffering the effects of excommunication, a notable reversal from the headlines of just 10 days ago. Let's remember what this word means. The excommunicated cannot receive the sacraments or exercise a role in the Church. It is the most serious exclusion there is. That's why the stakes here are so enormous. But here, we must be honest, because not cheating is more important than a catchy title. Not all canonists agree, and this is the real heart of the matter. There is, in fact, a technical but crucial distinction. A punishment imposed by authority through a provision is one thing. A punishment that comes into force automatically, the moment a certain act is committed, is another. Excommunication for consecrating bishops without the Pope's mandate belongs to the second type. It is automatic. The Dicastery's decree, in theory, does not create it. It simply declares that it has already been triggered. And several canonists object to this. The suspensive effect of the appeal, they say, does not cancel the obligation to observe a penalty already incurred automatically. If they are right, the excommunication would remain in force despite the appeal. In short, we are faced with 2 opposing readings of the same code. The Society says it is suspended. Some canonists respond, no, not the automatic one, and it is a technical issue that will be up to the authorities to resolve. And this isn't the first time canon law has lended itself to opposing interpretations. The machinery of ecclesiastical justice is slow and cautious and rarely provides immediate answers. Precisely for this reason, the issue will remain open for a long time to come. So I won't tell you that the excommunication is over, because that wouldn't be true. But I will tell you something more interesting. Not even those who imposed it can simply consider the matter over. So what changes, in concrete terms, for a believer who frequents the fraternity's chapels? On a practical level, for now, little. The faithful who attend the fraternity mass were not affected by the bishop's excommunication. Going to those masses is not, in itself, a sin. But in terms of meaning, it changes dramatically, because the society didn't respond with rebellion or declared schism. It responded with the law of the church, invoking its own rules. It's a detail worth 1,000 words. Those who are truly outside the church don't invoke its courts, they ignore them. The society, however, falls in line and demands justice according to the norms of Rome. The society has always reiterated this. It does not want to found a parallel church, but to be recognized within the Church of Rome. It recognizes the Pope, prays for him at every Mass, and names him in the canon. This is the point that clearly distinguishes it from the sedevacantists. The appeal states clearly, they act in a spirit of respect for ecclesiastical authority and faithful attachment to justice, truth, and the good of the Church. These are not the words of a schismatic. And this is where the real verdict veers away from the headlines, because the underlying question isn't technical, but substantive. Can one be outside the Church while invoking its laws, recognizing the Pope, and praying for him? The society does not deny the authority of the pontiff. It questions it. It does not reject canon law. It uses it. It is the position of those who want to stay inside, not of those who leave. But be careful not to make this a partisan victory. There are serious reasons behind Rome's decree. Consecrating bishops without a mandate is a grave act which undermines the unity and authority of the Pope. This is not a minor detail. And an uncomfortable question remains for the society as well. Can we appeal to Roman law and at the same time distance ourselves from its decisions? Consistency is a requirement for everyone. But precisely for this reason, the appeal is, all things considered, a positive development. It shifts the conflict from the realm of slogans to that of law and dialogue. And where proceedings are still underway, the door is still open. And a precedent, in this sense, should give hope. In 2009, Benedict XVI revoked the excommunication of the 4 bishops consecrated in 1988. What had seemed definitive was dissolved. In the Church, history always remains open, because the history of the Church teaches us that the deepest fractures have been healed not by shouted excommunications, but by patience, justice, and charity. The law, when it serves the truth, does not divide, it protects. And ultimately, this is what Canon 1353 reminds us, that in the Church, no condemnation is ever the final word. As long as a judgment remains, there is always room for appeal, that is, for hope. How it will end, Rome will tell in the coming months. But one thing is already clear. The sentence you heard wasn't the end of the story. It was only the first chapter, and the second, yet to be written, could surprise us. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.